Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's been like 2 weeks. I know I keep saying I'm gonna post every week. I just get busy. I don't know. Things get in the way and I will start posting once a week from here on out. So let me give you guys a little rundown of my new idea that I'm having. Basically, I want to start having every other week a cocktail hour. And during that cocktail hour, we'll chat about something. We could do Q&As, we can do more book reviews, we can do Q&As with my friends, with my boyfriend, anything you guys want, comment below. But I'm going to begin by telling you guys one of my favorite alcoholic beverages. Today it's going to be wine. Maybe some days I'll show you how to make my favorite cocktails, whatever it may be. But I thought, like, I don't know, wouldn't that be like a fun idea? Basically, I'm just using it as an excuse to drink and chat, my two favorite things. Today we are starting off with wine, like I said. I feel like so many people know this wine. It's a Cab. It's Josh. You could find this, honestly, at any grocery store. I think my boyfriend got this at Ralph's last night. Okay, to jump into today's video. Actually, wait. To give a little backstory on my reading and why I started reading, over quarantine I went through a really hard time mentally. I was kind of just looking for anything to distract me from my mind, honestly. And now it's something that I like to do every single morning. For me personally, I like to wake myself up reading. I find it way more calming to wake your mind up that way rather than just grabbing your phone and scrolling on social media. And I found that reading for just even 10 minutes, please just try 10 minutes. Reading for just 10 minutes in the morning before I touch my phone, before I do anything else, just brings me so much peace of mind and wakes me up in just a way more pleasant way. I also found that when I start my day off looking at my phone or looking at my emails or like the things that I need to do today, in the morning my routine basically is reading, meditate, journal. So when I'm doing all three of those things, if I already looked at my phone and I'm already seeing all the work that I have to do today, my reading is messed up. I go through that thing where you'll read a paragraph and all of a sudden you forgot what you read and you have to reread the entire thing. Meditation, my mind will just go off to the things that I have to do for that day. And journaling, I feel like I'm not really talking to myself or like thinking about what I actually want to journal or really being creative with my words. So just try reading in the morning. Besides looking at your phone, Instagram can wait, TikTok can wait, Snapchat can wait, your text messages, your group chats, everything can wait. Give yourself just 10-15 minutes in the morning for you time. That's your time to wake up, no one else's. Okay, so let's begin. I'm gonna go ahead and put like a screenshot of the books that I'm talking about right next to me so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. I first wanted to begin with a book that will always have a place in my heart because it's genuinely the one that made me fall back in love with reading. Or not fall back in love with reading, fall in love with reading. I've never liked reading. I've always hated reading, honestly. And it wasn't until just this year that I really started to enjoy it. The book that I first fell in love with is called A Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. This book is everything that I needed at the time. Meaning, when I was going through such a dark and shitty place, I was just thinking of anything that could help me, any kind of guide. What do I need to do? What do I need to focus on? At this point, I was just like, something help me. And this book did that. I recommend it for anybody who's not super spiritual or not super into like meditation or all those things. It's not like that. It's not that heavy. It's almost like the basic things that you should be doing in your day-to-day life that we just forget about, that we should make more important. In summary of this book, basically, it's about a very, very successful lawyer. Super successful lawyer, but he's under a lot of stress. He goes on a trip and basically finds himself. On this trip, he learns about meditation, all of these different things that we should be practicing, how we should be treating ourselves, how we should be treating our mind, what we should really be pursuing in life, and all of these different things. And I like to call it a self-help book in disguise. The reason why is it is a self-help book, in my opinion. It's telling you how to help yourself, how to heal yourself, the things to do to take care of yourself. But it's in disguise as a story. If you're not really into books that are like super informational or like here's a fact, here's a fact, here's a fact, here's the data, and you're like more into like storytelling and fiction, you would really enjoy this book. So He comes back from his trip, and basically the entire book is him and his friend sitting in a living room, and he's telling his friend the story of his trip and everything that he learned. I don't want to say a lot more because I don't want to ruin the book for you. This book is so short, such an easy read, and I feel like that's why I was so happy to read it as my first one back, because it just wasn't too difficult. You could probably finish it in a week just beginning. It's super thin. I recommend it to everybody. If you want to read it, please read it. Okay, I'll shut up about The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Next book. The next book I want to talk about today is called A Man Named Av. This book I actually started like a year ago because I was like, I want to start reading again. So I picked it up, I read like a third of it, and then never touched it again. So after I finished A Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, I picked this book up and I was like, no, you're gonna keep finishing this book, because ask anybody who reads, there's no better feeling in the world than finishing a book. I don't know, to me it's just such an accomplishment, and I just feel so good about myself. So when I finished my first one, I was like, I want to keep having this feeling. So picked up A Man Named Av, and I started from basically where I left off. This story is literally so cute, and it is the first book that has made me cry. It's just this story of a very, very grumpy old man, and in the end he finally finds like a family and a place in his heart, and it just makes you really appreciate everybody, even the terrible, grumpy, mean people in the world. It just makes you open your eyes up a little bit more and open your heart up a little bit more to those people. So this one is a fictional book. It's very engaging. It's a lot of dialogue. It's more intriguing to read and stuff like that. It's not a lot of data. It's more of like a fun book. So I find that if I read self-help book after information a self-help book, it's like a lot of information, I get burned out. Like I want some fun. I want some stories. I want some fiction. Keep things interesting. Keep me wanting to read more. The next book I'm going to talk about is called If You Tell. This book, I don't know how else to explain it except for it's fucked up. It is fucked up. Basically, this is like the most twisted dateline. If you like datelines, read this book. If you like fucked up stories, like murder stories, twisted, like what is wrong with people stories, read this book. The whole time you're like, oh my god, I don't want to put this down, but then at the same time you're like, oh my god, I want to put this down because it's so messed up. Like, please just read it. I don't know how else to explain it. It's a story of basically like these three girls growing up in a household with a very, very, very toxic mother and the things that they witnessed. And yeah, this is a true story too. It's a true story, and it just makes your skin crawl. So please read it if you are anybody that likes like Dateline type of stuff. This book is for you. So at this point, I've read 3 books, and I was like, you know what, Tamara, it's time to really challenge yourself. And if you guys know the DJ Fisher, like, you know, the DJ Fisher, his wife, Chloe Chapman, she actually has like an Instagram page. I can find it and probably like link it for you guys. She has an Instagram page, and she was posting all of the books that she loved at the time that I was just starting to read, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. She's like, I don't know, she's a cute girl, so I was like, I'll like the books that she likes. Not true. Everybody likes their own books. You may hate a book that somebody else likes because, I don't know, you're all reading for different purposes. You're all trying to find something in different books, so just remember that. She posted about a book called Sapiens. I'll add a picture and I'll show it to you. So she posted about this book called Sapiens. This is a fatty daddy, and the words are small. So I just want to give you guys like a good idea. It's like a pretty fat book. Words are small. A brief history of humankind, and I'm not kidding, that's exactly all it is. It is basically the history of Homo sapiens. Was my bra out? Probably. I'm sorry. I'm a mess, always. It is literally a history about Homo sapiens, how we evolved, starting from God knows when. This book, I read it as a challenge to myself, like, Tamara, if you can read this, you can read anything. So I picked up this book and I read the whole thing. I don't want any of you to read the whole thing unless you have a deep interest in the history of Homo sapiens. I'm being honest. Yes, there are some really cool, interesting things. Like sometimes in the book I was like, whoa, I've never thought about that, or wow, I never knew that. So it was a learning experience. It is very heavy with information. It is like taking a history class. That's basically all I have to say about this book. If you are super into that kind of stuff, then yes, I highly recommend it. If fiction is more your vibe, stay far away from this book. Okay, so after we finished Sapiens and we got through that emotionally and physically, we wanted something fun. So I ran out of books at my house, literally don't have any books. And I went to my dad's apartment. He has a girlfriend, her daughter Hannah. She's basically my stepsister at this point. My stepsister Hannah was like, please read these 2 books. So the first one she gave me is Where the Crawdads Sing. I'm sure many of you guys have heard about this book. It's super familiar. It is just such a cute love story. I love it. It's super engaging. Lots of dialogue. I know a lot of people like books with a lot of dialogue in it because it's almost like easier to read. This one is one of them. It's basically about a girl who grows up in like a shit house, shit family, shit dad. And one day everybody leaves this bitch and she's on her own. And it's like her surviving on a swamp. Like literally she's surviving on a swamp by herself. And she finds love. And it's about this. Oh, it's just so cute. I love this book. Definitely recommend. It is a little bit thicker, but let me show you like what the pages look like. It's not that bad. Like I said, lots of dialogue. Super cute book. Highly recommend. After that, the second book that Hannah gave me after I finished Where the Crawdads Sing was City of Girls. I love this book, you guys, by Elizabeth Gilbert. #1 New York Times best-selling author. I don't know, I didn't know that. These are both novels, but this book is so cute. It's about a girl who moves to New York City and she lives with her aunt who's so like theater and like here's New York City and like here's my extravagant life and welcome to New York City and now you have this life. And it's like all of her party stories and like what she did and her romances and this leads to this and oh my gosh, it is just adorable. I love it. It's so cute. In the end, something does happen, but highly recommend. Love this book. It's like the same thickness as Where the Crawdads Sing, but it is a very easy read. Lots of dialogue in this one too. Cute fictional book. Now, for my spiritual bitches, you need to read this book. It is called Becoming Supernatural, okay? I don't know about you guys, but my major in college was kinesiology. I have a very scientific mind. Even when it comes to religion, I find myself often not arguing, but questioning a lot of things because I have a scientific mind. I need things to make sense and I need data and I need to be backed up. That's just how I am, and I know that there's so many people like that. So when it comes to manifestation and meditation and all of those things, people are like, oh my gosh, you have this like out-of-body experience and the universe is talking to you and all of these things are happening to your mind and your brain and your soul and all of this shit. It's not shit. I believe it. But I'm just saying, I know it sounds crazy and I know it can be hard to take in and it's a lot to kind of understand. So that's why I read this. This book, I'll show you, literally comes with brain scans of people's brains of during meditation and like during all of these different practices, and it shows exactly what these things are doing to your mind and your body and what it's capable of. It has so many different stories of what people have experienced. It's all by this Dr. Joe Dispenza. I know I didn't say that right, but it's by this doctor, and these are all of his studies and all of his patients. He also has like different meditation practices that you should start practicing, and I even practice, and like all this stuff. He basically breaks down meditation, manifestation, self-care, and just how to become supernatural. That's like the whole thing, is like how to take yourself to the next level, how to get out of your past mind and move on to live in the present and experience what's happening now. This book taught me so much about meditation and getting into it, so if that is something you're interested in, I highly, highly recommend it. I will say some parts of this book, it's kind of like the Sapiens, where you're like, okay, this is a lot of information, this is a lot of information, this is a lot of information. Like, it's not storytelling, so it's not super engaging, it's just a lot thrown out at you. So I feel like maybe if you're just beginning, take some breaks with this book, read only like 10 pages at a time, that kind of thing. But it is such an amazing book. I highly, highly recommend, especially if you're into spirituality and all of those kind of things. Wow, I didn't even realize it, but that summarizes all of the books that I have read. I made a list and I've read 8 books and I haven't counted that yet, and that's just been since quarantine, and that just gives me such a good feeling, and that makes me so like happy and proud of myself, and I want you guys to experience this. Please just try reading. I promise, if it's a book you love, I feel like you'll fall in love with reading. I feel like my whole life growing up, I've only read books in school, and I was like told I have to read it, so obviously you're not enjoying it and you don't really want to be reading these books. But when you get to pick the books that you read and you get to decide which ones you're gonna choose, it just makes it so much better. And then when you accomplish it and you finish it, it's just such a good feeling, and I want all of you guys to feel that as well. I really enjoyed this, and I hope you guys take my recommendations. My biggest tips: start short. For me right now, I'm kind of at a point where I used to be like at 15 pages, I'd start getting antsy and I'd be like, okay, I'm getting over this. Now I'm at 20 pages. It's literally like an exercise for your brain muscle. You gotta work your way up. Don't be like, I'm gonna read 50 pages every single night, because I don't even do that, and I love reading. Take it at your own pace. It's a slow process. Also make sure you're switching up your genres so that you're always keeping yourself engaged and like wanting to keep reading more. I feel like those are my biggest 2 tips. Yeah. I hope this video helped you guys. I hope you guys read these books. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe. Also comment below other cocktail hours that you would like, if it's a Q&A, if it's a get ready with me while I drink a cocktail. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.